Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in the works, as well as other projects as well that Jon and Dave Filoni are currently working on as we speak. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that there's a lot of things happening between George, Jon, and Dave Filoni, given that they are working together as this trio, as this team, if you will, to really kind of revive Star Wars legends, those stories that don't necessarily count at the time being, that will be made canon in the near future, and how they're going to drag that into the Disney canon properly and accurately. So on top of that, we already know that George, Jon, and Dave are trying their absolute best to really turn things around for the Star Wars fandom, and I've said this many times before, I still enjoy The Mandalorian Season 2, more so than the Kenobi TV series. That's just my stance on things. I like Jon and Dave's work. Everything's very consistent. It's very attentive to not just Legends material, but also to a lot of the detail in that show. And when you look at the Kenobi series, the editing is heavily flawed. There's not so many Easter eggs as you would hope there would be, unlike The Mandalorian, which has a lot of them in there. And, you know, it just comes off as very inauthentic, to me at least, by Joby Harold and Deborah Chow. But I digress, alright? What, of course, is going on with the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series has a lot to do with what's been going on with Disney CEO Bob Chapek, the guy that's allowing everything to happen between Jon, George, and Dave Filoni, and allowing them to do as they please. So, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing about all of this is that with Joby Harold no longer involved with the Star Wars franchise, both Disney and Lucasfilm are looking over their options with the new Star Wars universe that will be mostly handled by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Now, it's described, however, that recently Bob Chapek made some drastic changes to the Star Wars franchise with the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series and the character of Reva, portrayed by actress Moses Ingram. Now, it's noted that one of the big changes that Chapek recently applied to the new Star Wars universe was by easing and erasing the character of Reva from the planned Obi-Wan Kenobi second season that originally had Reva attached to the show. This was all done progressively. It's described that early on during the marketing, Disney already made their decision that this was of course going to happen by including Reva in Season 2, however this was all before the feedback came into the situation by fans that made Disney second guess themselves with Reva in Season 2 of Kenobi. As of now, Chapek recently made it final that Reva will no longer be attached to the second season of Kenobi, and has decided her from, of course, appearing in any single episode of new Star Wars Kenobi episodes in the show, in order to focus on other characters. Disney is already in the talks of trying to get the original Kenobi writer, Stuart Beattie, back on board for Season 2 to work with Favreau, Filoni, and others on the series. In case you guys did not know, Beattie is the original writer of the Kenobi trilogy. Moving forward, now actress Moses Ingram surprisingly is said to not be too bothered by this decision, as she was very happy enough to be in Season 1. You see, that's honestly a very good mindset of her. Again, all respect to Moses Ingram, I just did not like her character at all. Very, very flawed, very annoying at times, horribly written at times as well, but Moses Ingram is a very, genuine and nice actress. And I think that this goes to show you that the fact that she's not getting too, angry about this, or really too argumentative, getting into arguments about this, it just goes to show you that she respects certain decisions that are being made and how the fans are actually thinking. But who knows, right? So, on top of that, however, she does have a problem with her spin-off show getting cancelled, so there you have it, which was also another initial plan by Lucasfilm. So she doesn't care about herself getting cut from Kenobi Season 2, but here's the kicker, she is angry about the fact that she got her show cancelled. So Reva is described to have also been cut from season 2 of Kenobi, given that this was a character pushed by Kathleen Kennedy, and how Kennedy was forcing Stuart Beattie, the original writer of the Kenobi trilogy, to also put her in that actual series. Now, here's the thing about this. Now, Stuart Beattie, yes, he created Reva. Alright, this is the guy that made the character of Reva. The twist here is that it was Kathleen Kennedy who was forcing Stuart Beattie to make that character behind the scenes. And originally, in case you guys did not know, in the Kenobi trilogy, there were no Inquisitors. Period. There was no fifth brother, there was no fourth sister, there was no Grand Inquisitor. It was just Reva. And this is when Kathleen Kennedy had more control over the Kenobi project than how she did with the Kenobi series, which she only partially had some control over, so you can see how things balanced out a little bit. If Kathleen Kennedy had full creative power, we probably wouldn't have seen any Inquisitors at all, period, even though they did practically nothing in the show. So, moving forward from that, Kennedy was the one who forced Joby Harold to not kill off the character Reva in the revisions of the script to keep her alive for a season 2 at the time. However, now that Kennedy has no control over season 2 of Kenobi, and with Beattie also in the talks to write the script with John and Dave, Reva is now out of the show for good. Disney, however, is looking to making Reva a comic series to continue her story for canon reasons for the fans. The Reva character in Season 2 had plans to return as a light side version of herself, without being attached to the Empire and on a mission to hunt down all the Inquisitors. This would take place while Kenobi would train with Qui-Gon Jinn and watch over Luke. However, those plans were cancelled now that the plan is of course for the series to pick up 2 years later, where a final duel will eventually take place between Kenobi and Vader, as they are also planning a Season 3 of Kenobi to fulfill Stuart Beattie's trilogy format. Part of the story FAVREAU and Filoni are approaching now is introducing new Inquisitors, with Kenobi hunting them down to get to Vader eventually. Now, here's the thing about this. They are, and we talked about this months ago, they do want to create 3 seasons of the Kenobi series and then call it a day. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine with me. I think that's absolutely amazing. Because they were originally supposed to make this a beginning, middle, and end, very much spanned out in the form of a movie, in the form of a trilogy. A trilogy, okay? Now you can see why the Kenobi series feels very tight and condensed and too rushed, is because they really compiled it into just 6 short episodes of what was supposed to be spanned out into the form of a trilogy of movies. So now, the alternative, given that it already is a series, they are going to be making it into a 3-season format instead of a 3-movie format, and I like that. Now, the thing about Reva getting cancelled from Season 2, good on Disney CEO Bob Chapek. I think that's a fantastic call on his end. Again, no disrespect to Moses Ingram, you know, it's nothing against her as an actress or a person, but her character was horrible. I just did not like the character, and I talked about this many times. Sure, she had some good moments here and there, you know, she had some tidbits that really stood out where you said, that's great acting, that's pretty good, but for the most part for me, the character just did not work. It did not make much sense to even put her in there many times, let alone having so many scenes with, of course, other characters that could have had, you know, better screen time. I mean, who else was wondering why the fifth brother got no action scenes in the Kenobi series, right? So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.